Good morning, councillors, and welcome to the Governance Committee meeting this morning. Firstly, I would like to acknowledge the traditional custodians of the land on which we gather and pay my respects to elders past, present and emerging. Welcome to the City Governance Committee meeting on the 6th of August, and I declare the meeting open at 10:23. I would like to advise the attendees in the room that this meeting is being webcast and audio recording. So we're all good down the back there? Thank you for coming, and I hope that you're having a good time watching us today. We'll move on to item 3 on our agenda, and that is attendance and leave of absence. I understand that Councillor Mindy Russell is away today, and there is a motion up on the board. So I'm just calling, please, for someone to move that. Councillor Stemp has moved the motion. Councillor Lane has seconded. All those in favour, please raise your hands. That is great. Just noting that the Mayor is not in the room at the moment. I think he's been called away on a call. Thank you, councillors. Let's move on to confirmation of the previous committee meeting minutes. There is now a motion displayed on the screen to confirm the previous minutes. So that's up there for the City Governance Committee meeting held on the 9th of July 2024 be confirmed. Do I have a mover for this motion on the screen? Councillor Hall has moved the motion. Do I have a seconder? Councillor Jackson has seconded the motion. Anybody want to speak to the motions at all? Thank you. All those in favour, please raise your hands. That has been carried with the exception of Councillor Lane.
Thanks very much, Madam Chair. I'll abstain. I was only here for about 80% of the meeting.
Okay, thank you, Councillor Lane. And Mr Mayor is again still out of the room at this particular point in time. Thank you. Item 4 on our agenda is declarations of conflicts of interest. I now refer to declarations of conflict of interest. Do any councillors wish to declare a conflict on today's agenda items? Excellent. Being none, then we can move straight into reports. Today we've got 4 reports. They're all public, so hopefully we'll be able to get through these quite quickly. And first up today is item 6.1, which is a delegation of the Environmental Protection Act for 1994. That's a little time away. So I have Miss Anita White, who is going to speak to the report. Over to you.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and through you. This report, councillors, relates to some amendments to the Environmental Protection Act which were made on 18th of June 2024. Essentially, it's a change in naming from what were a variety of notices, direction notice, environmental protection notice, to one single name being the Environmental Enforcement Order. So attachment 1 details the amendments that are being made to delegations from Council to CEO to reflect that change. Attachment 2 is the actual delegation of instrument that we're asking for your adoption on today. If adopted, those delegations will then be further delegated or subdelegated by the CEO to operationalise the ability to issue those enforcement orders under the Act. Happy to take any questions.
Thank you, Anita. Councillor Bradley.
Thank you. Through the chair, I'm always super impressed with these type of reports. If you can pass on sincere thanks to those who go into the nitty-gritty. But I'm just curious, if ever there's any of these type of protection notice, etc., or whatever that comes up, do we as councillors be informed?
Thank you. I'd have to take that question on notice because it actually is through a different team to mine, but I'm happy to send an email to you just to let you know if there is that process in place.
I'm just more curious about, like, for example, if it goes to court. I've had a couple in my area do that over the years, and it's certainly worth noting as a councillor, just my opinion. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Bradley. Are you happy with that correspondence back from Anita's team? Thank you very much. Councillors, is there any further questions on that particular report? Okay, we'll open the floor. Can I have a mover, please, for the report? Councillor Jackson has moved, and a seconder, please. Councillor Stemp. All those in favour, please raise your hand. That has been carried unanimously, noting that the Mayor is still absent from the room. Anita, that was very quick. Does anybody have any general business for the Corporate Governance Manager at all today? There being none, do you have any for us?
Not today, thank you.
Thank you. Very quick. You may go back to work. Thank you very much. I'll now call to the floor, please, Margaret, because we're going on to 6.2, which is the Local Infrastructure Program August 2024. I'm actually a bit excited about this report, Margaret. Over to you.
Thank you, Chair. Good morning, councillors. Today we have 32 new projects that we're presenting, which all fall within the LIP guidelines, and attachment 2 has one amendment seeking additional funding.
Councillors, is there any questions? I just note for Councillor Bradley, which is the LIP number 710, there is a little change to the amendment, which we'll get the girls to put up. It is for the Underwood Park guides. I understand Councillor Bradley has designed a retaining wall, but it is less the new concrete path. Is that correct, Councillor Bradley?
Yeah, thank you. There is no intention for a concrete footpath. They've already got one.
So if you can, councillors, please have a look at the screen. In dot point number 1, at the end there, it says, subject to the minor amendment to LIP 710 to delete the reference of the new concrete footpath. So we've just made that amendment to the recommendations. I also like to note that we've all been really super busy. So there's 32 projects out in the community, helping our community strive ahead. Right across the board, everybody has got a project happening. So congratulations to all the councillors and all their hard work that they're doing. So if you have a project out there in the community, local members, please get in contact with your councillor and discuss. So that being said, Councillor Lane, you're happy, or do you want a question? Yes, absolutely, Councillor Lane. Go ahead.
Thanks, Madam Chair. Through you. I had a document that was sent up for Logan Brothers. Is that coming to council next week as a late addition, or is it's not on this list? Sorry.
I dare say all the approvals weren't authorised, so it will come to next week's council meeting.
So just for those listening along, any projects that sometimes are late to these attachments can come to ordinary council so that the project doesn't get stopped, so they keep going. Councillors, just before we start, we have got a motion on the board that you would have received an updated attachment just recently in your emails. Could I get somebody to move that motion that you received that updated list, please? Councillor Bradley has moved it. Can I have someone second? Councillor Jackson has. All those in favour, please raise your hand. This is just for the attachment approval. Excellent. Noting that the Mayor is still out of the room. We'll move on to the motion that is on the board, and just reminding councillors that that does have that little amendment in clause 1 where we've deleted the reference to the new concrete footpath. So may I have a mover for that motion? Councillor Bradley has moved. Can I have a seconder, please? Councillor Jackson. All those in favour, please raise your hands. That has been carried, noting the Mayor is still out of the room. Thank you so much. Does anybody have any general business for the acting finance manager at all today? No? Do you have any for us?
Thank you, Chair. I'd just like to make mention that due to the length of time it takes to complete end of financial year, the June financial report will come to the next council meeting, committee meeting.
Thank you for that update. We'll look forward to that. That was a super quick one. Thank you for your time today. Councillors, we'll move on to item 6.3, which is the quarterly fourth quarter 2023-24 operational plan. And Ms. Kay Sullivan is going to talk to the report. Thank you, Kay.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and good morning, councillors. You may remember that we changed the nature of the operational report and the projects that were included from the 22-23 to 23-24 year. You'll notice that for the last year we had less projects, but what we did was include projects that had a greater community visibility or greater scale and scope or complexity in delivery. And I'm really pleased, as you'll see from this report, that we've been able to maintain the same level and standard of delivery there. Of the 33 projects, 30 were completed, with the remaining 3 being transferred over to the 24-25 financial year. Happy to take any questions.
Thank you, Kay. Councillors, are there any questions? Councillor Stamp, please proceed.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Just 3 items I noticed in the report I'd like to get some more information on, if possible. One was the EG 5.8, which was identify the digital infrastructure and connectivity capability and create new opportunities, digital economy, and advocate for high-speed, reliable internet options for our community. Just keen to understand what the next steps are in that space after advocacy. Like, where do we go from here? Because it's obviously something that's really important to the city.
Councillor, I'll take that question on notice and get further detail for you.
That's fine. And the other 2, just quickly, were the Riverbank Restoration Project. So that was EN 3.2.1. Just keen to understand where those projects are scheduled for and also when. And the Way to Go refresh. Would love the opportunity to have some input into that one, if possible. I don't know. I'm assuming they'll come to councillors at some point for some input, but excited to have a chat about that one. So thank you.
Happy to do that.
Great.
Thank you, Councillor Stamp. Great projects to talk about. Any further questions? Councillor Lane.
Thanks very much, Madam Chair. On page 1 of the report, the actual, it has, at the meeting 14 February 2024, Council resolved as followed that the description for project PC 2.3.2 Reconciliation Action Plan be amended as detailed in the report titled Quarter 2. Do you know what's happening with the RAP? Are we proceeding with it? Is it going to be presented to Council soon?
Through you, Madam Chair, we are proceeding with that particular project. It has had a number of delays, as you've seen over the previous quarters. One of those delays has very much been around being able to get the right staff to deliver that project there. We do have staff on board now, so that will be progressing.
Is that the First Nations officer that was just employed? Because my understanding is they're not part of the RAP, that they're not part of that process. So who have we gotten on board that can complete the RAP for us?
From my understanding, it was that particular role, so if I can find out some more information for you, I'll take that question further on notice.
That'd be lovely,
Yep.
Thank you.
Councillor Lane, you're happy with that? Okay. I'm hoping that you get the information that you require. Councillor Wilcox.
Thank you. Just further to something that Councillor Stamp just said, I would love to know more about Way to Go. I'm not sure if other councillors would be up for this, but I think it would be a really good workshop so we could actually give feedback into it moving forward. Thanks.
Thank you, Councillor Wilcox. Any further questions, councillors? Okay, there is a motion up on the board. Do I have a mover for the motion? Councillor Stamp has moved it. And a second, please. Councillor Wilcox, all those in favour, please raise your hands. That has been carried. Councillor Lane, how do you vote?
I'll abstain and hopefully I'll get the information before Ordinary Council when I can vote for it. Thank you, Madam Chair.
No problem. And please note that Mayor Raven is still out of the room. Does anybody have any general business for the enterprise portfolio management? No? Do you have any for us?
Nothing today, thank you.
Thank you. Let's move on to our last report today. How quickly are we going today? Which is 6.4, which is the formation of the Chief Executive Officer's Performance Review Panel, a very important job. Kim Bryan is here. I'll hand it over to you to speak to your report, Kim.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and through the Chair. The purpose of this report is to establish the Chief Executive Officer's Performance Panel for the next 2 years. The role of the panel is outlined in the report, and you'll also see the guidelines and policy that accompanies the report going into more detail. Essentially, the panel facilitates the performance review, but all councillors have input into this process. Dan Hunt, who has been our external panel member, has agreed to once again be on the panel for this year. I believe that the Mayor has an indication of who may wish to join this panel. I'm happy to answer any questions or hand back to you, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Just before you go, Councillor Bradley, we do have Dan Hunt, who's the external. On the panel also is the Mayor himself, and I believe the Deputy Mayor is also. And then an email was sent out to all councillors to ask to provide for nominations. And I do believe that congratulations is in order for Councillor Lane and Councillor Stemp on their appointment to the panel. Councillor Bradley, did you have a question with regards to that?
Thank you. Through the chair. Yeah, my hand went up when Ms. Breyer referred to the Mayor's preference of who is on the panel. Is that who the Mayor's preference is, who has just been mentioned?
I didn't mean it in that context. I'm sorry if I expressed it incorrectly. It was that the Mayor had indicated that he had nominations.
Okay,
Yeah.
thank you.
That clarifies it, Councillor Bradley. So yes, the Mayor sent out an email to all councillors and asked for nominations, and I believe Councillor Lane and Councillor Stemp are happy to be on those panels, and congratulations to you both. Thank you very much. So that will be reflected in the motion that is on the board. So we do have the Mayor himself, the Deputy Mayor, Councillor Lane and Councillor Stemp to form and oversee the performance of the Chief Executive Officer and the annual reviews for 2023-24 and 2004-25. The years are going so fast, aren't they? So if I could please, if there is a mover for the motion that is up on the board. Councillor, I should say Deputy Mayor Bannon has moved the motion. Is there a seconder? Councillor St Ledger has seconded the motion. All those in favour, could you please raise your hands? That has been carried unanimously, with the exception of Mr Mayor, who's still out of the room. Thank you for that. Does anybody have any general business for the Director of People and Engagement? No? Do you have any for us today, Kim?
Not today, thank you.
Excellent. That brings us to the end of our reports. Does anybody have any general business for Robert today, the Director? Councillor Wilcox.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr Strachan. 2 questions. This month I actually thought and was looking forward to reading 2 reports, but they're not here, so just wondering where they are. The report for the Trust and the report for the lab.
Yes, Councillor Wilcox, both of those reports weren't completed in time to meet the agenda deadline, so both reports will come back to the September committee meeting.
Thank you, Councillor Wilcox. Yes, normally we in governance have about 10 reports. This time we've only got 4, so that's why we're so quick and efficient today. So if there is no further business, I would like to conclude today's agenda, and I declare that the governance meeting of the 6th of August be concluded at 10:41 today. Thank you very much for your attendance today, and have a great day.